So one of the things that changed my life almost more than anything, at least as an entrepreneur, at least as a full-grown adult in the game, is I stopped checking my email every day. Now, this was a tough one for me to swallow, and it actually took me a couple of months to train myself, to discipline myself to get there, but now it's just how I live. I check my email 3, maybe 4 times a week. If I'm waiting for something specific, I'll check it more, but that's only because I know it's coming. Now, let me tell you a little bit about why I did this and why I think you got to get there too. And you may not be able to do it where you check it every 3 to 4 times a week, but you need to at least segment when you look at your emails. Once in the morning, once before you leave, or just one time per day, okay? Here's why. I found something interesting. It hit me like a ton of bricks. It was like the most obvious thing, and I couldn't believe I hadn't seen it before, is when we live with our email tab open. So let me tell you what I was doing here. Knocked off some keys. Is I'd have 2 monitors, okay? I have my first monitor, like on my laptop, and then I had a second monitor. And often what I would do is I would literally work all day long, and I know a lot of you do this too, with the email tab open. In fact, I would often keep one of my monitors literally with my email open. And sometimes this can be exciting if you got sales coming in or leads coming in or whatever for your business. And if that's the case where you do have to monitor your email all day long, you need to make sure that in that email, it only has needle moving activity. Like if you have leads that you have to monitor every day, one, it's best if you can get somebody else to do it for you. But if you have to do it for now, you need to make sure that this email only shows you those activities, okay? Here's what happens, guys, and you have to see this, you have to get this, is when we live with our email open, you'll get an email, you'll get an email, you'll get an email, you'll get an email. And what happens is these are typically going to be fires that you have to put out. These are going to be distractions, okay? It's going to be a client who's upset. It's going to be a shipping order didn't go through. It's going to be it's going to be someone from like UPS, or you paying by your utility bill or your rent or a problem to solve or whatever it is. Basically, every email is going to be a distraction. Every email is going to be something that causes you to stop what you're doing and pull you in this direction. But you're trying to go this way. But every time your email goes off, every time your text goes off, pulls you this way, pulls you this way, pulls you this way. So if you've got a definite goal and you're trying to make more money, let's say I'm trying to get to a sales goal, I'm trying to get to $10,000 a month, and you're sitting here and you're doing these activities to try to get you to $10,000 a month, but all of a sudden you get a ding and it's this email right here and it's an angry customer, guess what you do? You have to stop what you're doing and go fix that problem. Guess what you didn't do for the rest of the day, or maybe for 1 to 2 hours, is you didn't make any progress towards your goal. Now, even if you live with this open and you decide that I'm not going to take care of I saw that email, but I'm going to save it for later. Here's the problem with that. It mentally weighs on you. And for the rest of the day, you've got this filter on how you see everything else. So you're trying to make steps, but they're not going as far. Your steps are hindered. They're only half steps because you're worried about this customer. In your mind, you're just thinking, I got to get this done so I can go take care of that customer and get this feeling off of me, get this weight off me, get this stress off me, get this overwhelm off me. No, what you got to do is you got to shut this thing down. You can't live with this thing open. You just can't. It just doesn't work. You will not hit your goals. You could hit your goals in 2 weeks, 30 days, if you didn't have this going on. This is why everything's taking you 3 months, 6 months, 9 months, is because if you could color code your blocks of time throughout the day, you would realize that it's probably less than 2 hours per day. I would say 2 hours is a stretch. It's probably 1 hour per day that you literally go and work on the things that make you money and move the needle. The rest of your time, it's deceptive because this feels like work. You get an angry customer and you go make them a video to show them how to fix the problem or help them out. You just spent 45 minutes of your time helping a customer. It felt good. It felt great, but guess what didn't happen? You didn't make any money. You didn't move the needle. But it felt like you were busy. It felt like you were productive. It felt like you did something helpful, but you actually didn't. And we end up with all these blocks of time of things that aren't helpful. They don't move your business forward. It's a big deal, guys. I'm not saying you ignore the customers. I'm saying you got to do this. So we've got one of our guys from 8 to 9. He checks his emails. He handles the customers. He gets back to them. Then from 4 to 5, he does the same thing. But everything in between, he's not putting out fires for customers. He's not helping them. They feels like an emergency to them. It's not an emergency to us, and it's not an emergency in the grand scheme of life. And we have to treat it that way. All right? So when we take on this attitude, because here's the deal. There's going to be moves you make all day, and they fall into 2 categories. They either move the needle or they maintain. It's like swimming, right? Like a swimmer. Either you're treading water, it's a treading water move, or it's getting them closer to the finish line. And what happens is we get so caught up with the treading water moves, we don't even realize we're not further along. Like the whole question of, I feel like I should be further along in life or further along in business. Well, yeah. And you spent the first hour of your day putting out fires. And then right after that, another email came in or text came in and you had to deal with taxes or shipping or something personal. And then you took a lunch and then you had a meeting followed by another meeting. And then it's 5 p.m. And you got to go home, take your kids to soccer practice. The day's over. You didn't move the needle. If you spend too many days like that, guess what happens? You go nowhere. And I think that's what's been happening is we've programmed ourselves to feel like those types of activities move the needle, but they don't. They just kind of feel good because we were busy, but we weren't productive. This is a big deal, guys. And when we can reprogram yourself, and it takes work. You got to work at this. You got to discipline yourself at this. But when you get it down, when you budget your time to where it's only working on things that make you money or move your business forward, that's when things can take off for you. That's when you go to the next level. So you got to look at your time. You need to probably do a time study. You need to be hard on yourself. Be honest with yourself, right? Look at it and say like, okay, how am I spending my time? Look what I did today. Go back, figure out what you did that day and put a green check mark by it if it moved the needle, put a red X by it if it was actually a maintenance move. Because what happens is if we don't do these productive moves on purpose, if we're not very disciplined and very focused on what we're putting our hand to, what we're putting our time to, we will default to defense, okay? And what that looks like is working with your email open, working with your text messages open. You'll default to defense because that's the easiest thing to do. It's what we're naturally programmed to do if we don't work on ourselves. We'll just wait for fires to pop up and put them out, and it'll feel good because we were busy and we helped customers and we made videos and we replied and we did all these things. But guess what? Your bank account won't reflect that. So again, be laser focused. What moves the needle? Putting out the fires, save that for 8 to 9 a.m., 4 to 5, and 4 to 5 p.m. Ideally, if you can do it in just one block of time, do it in one block of time. If you have to, you need to outsource this. You need to have somebody else who monitors this for you because as the head of your company, as the CEO, as the entrepreneur, if you don't have a team yet, you got to figure out how to always be working on growth, how to always be working on increase, right? That needs to be the majority of your focus. And then you spend 80% moving the needle, 20% on maintenance, 80% on the offense, 20% on the defense, okay? I know this stuff has to get done, but you can't be the focus of your day. And I think too many people allow it to be. So you fix this thing, you figure this part out, and now your time is freed up to move the needle, to move the chains, to get closer to your goals. All right? So figure out how to do this. Be ruthless about it. Be savage about it. Don't say this isn't a big deal. It's actually a huge deal, and everything will change when you focus your time and your efforts and your energy on the offense, being proactive and getting out in front. All right? Make sure you like and subscribe, hit the bell. I'm going to see you in the next video.